This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome to Off the Break Podcast, the podcast dedicated to current movie theater news, operations, and insights from the people that book the movies. With me today is Kyle, our media manager and Marvel cinephile.
Hello.
Ken, our junior film buyer and action movies aficionado.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah. And I'm Cody. I'm a film buyer. And now I've seen 19 films.
It's 19 now?
19 now?
Well done.
Oh, I'm getting up there, guys.
I'm glad that you're getting down to a system with it now. You actually are watching them once a week. We originally planned once a month, I think,
right
at the start of that.
Yeah.
19's passing in some counties, so that's great.
Oh my gosh, how many do I have to really see for passing? That's I have to be over 60. That's a D.
A D minus.
Minus. Well, is that passing? No, 70 is a passing. Oh, 70 movies. I'm so far away from that.
In due time.
All right. Well, on today's podcast, we're going to talk about Godzilla vs. Kong getting a rating, Just Mercy moving to streaming, AMC theaters may not recover from this closure. Dun dun dun. Sony pulling all the repertory bookings. We're upset with you, Sony. Cinemark having a no mask policy. Is that good? Is that bad? Do we feel comfortable with that? And Cody's Classic Corner. Can't wait to talk to you guys about Pulp Fiction. And Kyle's Sweet and Happy Corner. He had 2 movies this week.
I saw them both.
Yeah,
I stuck to my word.
We had the scariest Disney movie of all time, Watcher in the Woods.
Sure.
And the best Antonio Banderas movie of all time.
Get
Sure.
get out
The
of here.
best, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
The only one I've probably really seen.
You're just lucky.
We'll find out in that section.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you?
is that really the best Antonio Banderas movie?
I mean, Antonio Banderas.
Don't stutter. It is the best.
Banderas just got nominated for an Oscar in his last movie, but yeah, this is the best movie that he's ever done.
Let's be honest. Let's talk about the movie probably most people have seen.
Shrek 2.
13th Warrior.
Yeah.
Not Puss in Boots.
That no one has seen. If you said 13th Warrior, everybody's like, is that Tom Cruise
There's
movie?
3 people in this room who have seen it now.
I thought you were talking about the Keanu Reeves samurai movie.
Yeah.
That's when you told me to watch that. Yeah. I was like, the Keanu Reeves one, but that's 47 Ronin, I think.
Yeah. No.
Which probably might not have been better, but
that's one.
So that's a glowing
awesome
review so far.
Yeah. So let's get into the podcast. I guess let's start with the some upcoming movies. We had Warner's had Godzilla vs. Kong, and it came out with what?
A new rating?
Yeah, what is it, guys?
PG-13, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
It wasn't a surprise, but I'm glad they got. That means it's completed. It's ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, there was it might not be completed, but there was enough completed that the ratings board could review it.
But with a special effects heavy movie, you would think they have to have most of that submitted.
I don't know if they have to have all the special effects done. I think they just have to have the story enough. But that's good. I mean, say it's 80 or 90% of the way there.
Yeah, as things open, then they'll be able to get it on track and get it out for Thanksgiving.
It is coming out Thanksgiving? I honestly didn't remember when this movie was coming out.
I think it got pushed back to Thanksgiving, didn't it?
From May or late April. I'm trying to remember now. Mm-hmm. But we need it. We need a big... last one was a $50 million opening against Rocket Man.
Be interested to see what they do with Khan, because we've seen the.
No, it's not going to be interesting. It's going to be amazing.
Sorry.
I wonder if this one can make more than the last Godzilla movie, just because King Kong is going to be in it and people know it's going to be battling against Godzilla.
If the audiences are back, I see no reason why this isn't going to do better than the other one.
Remember, it's opening over Thanksgiving weekend, and that we've got the new James Bond movie.
There's a lot of stuff on Thanksgiving, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be a really packed holiday corridor this
Something
year.
Might move.
And if you've got a similar rating, I don't think James Bond is going to be R. That's going to be competing for that audience.
I've already informed the bank to defer my mortgage payment for November so I can buy out an auditorium. So that should help boost.
No, we're going to Bond.
I mean, I'll be seeing both.
Is he fighting criminals or a giant ape? then I will see James Bond if he's fighting King Kong.
He's
That's
probably,
the crossover we really are needing right now.
James Bond running away from a giant gorilla.
We all know James Bond would win. It's not even a contest.
So, well, that's exciting. I feel like just talking about that gets us more into a normal routine. I feel like we're like kind of inching slowly back into things.
It's such little news, but it's news. It's just
Yeah.
news to help movie fans be able to have something to look forward to, I guess. Like, if
Yeah.
you want to look at it that way.
Well, it just means that certain parts of our industry are kind of returning,
Yeah.
This is all part of the process. A movie is made, it's edited, it's sent to the ratings board, it gets its ratings, and they start the marketing campaign. I mean, this happens to all the movies. So it's just nice to have this process going again.
Well,
And
we
we're-
get it. Oh, sorry, Ken.
And we're definitely not scraping the bottom of the barrel for any sort of movie news we can get our hands on. That's not happening at all.
No, totally not.
We talk about every PG-13 movie that gets rated.
Yeah. We actually do post rating news updates on Silver Screen Insider. It is something that we like to put out there right away, the ratings, the reasons why they're rated, so you can start marketing them sooner.
That's true. That's actually the only rating that Silver Screen Insider had this week. So that's why we're talking about it now.
So you can get all that on silverscreeninsider.com.
You bet.
Yeah.
And the subscription is how much again?
Only $25 a month.
What a deal.
What a
a deal.
All right. Moving on. What you aren't going to see is Just Mercy in the theaters, but it's apparently going to be on streaming for free.
Yeah. Due to the politics of everything happening today, I guess Warner Bros. Decided to have Just Mercy be free for streaming on whichever platforms they so choose. So that way people can kind of educate themselves more about the unfortunate things that we're having to go through right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very poignant film for the times. It's very well done. Great actors.
I think it got a lot of critical praise, but then it also just kind of went by the wayside. I think
Yeah,
it just
it kinda-
really got overshadowed. So it's nice that it's being kind of brought back in a more positive, meaningful way.
Yeah, exactly.
We appreciated the timing of it because it came after New Year's with the wide release, because it came out at Christmas, New York, LA,
Yeah.
and then came out, but then it got overshadowed by was it 1917 that came out the same
Yeah.
week?
Yeah.
And then that did the big number and kind of pushed it by the wayside. But it was, I mean, in the same vein that 1917 was a really well done war movie, this is a really well done movie about race and injustice.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess people can now watch it. I mean, maybe they've been
Right.
wanting to for a while since they heard it was in theaters, but they went to see 1917 instead. So I think this is all a pretty big plus.
And I'm okay with this because it had a theatrical run. So I'm okay with like free streaming on these films when they've had theatrical runs. And I think that is a good opportunity to see a great film right now.
Yeah, especially for a good cause as well. So I agree with that.
So if you're into the politics of what's going on right now, go ahead and check out Just Mercy.
Yeah, it could be a great way to break the ice with teenagers in your house, young adults, to get them.
If you want to have that conversation.
If it's time to have that conversation in your home, this is a great way to break the ice.
For sure.
So next up on the docket, we have AMC theaters may not recover from closures.
Oh, I'm so sad.
Definitely not shedding a tear for AMC, but I don't think this has anybody should be worried that this is somehow an industry issue. I think this is very much an AMC management issue. They did have a lot of debt, and now it looks like the recovery back into full-time theatrical mode isn't going to happen as quickly as we had thought. And so AMC now is operating at just such a deficit for so much longer than they probably thought that it could cause some issues. What we may see, some theater closures. But I don't think that that's going to be, depending upon the location, a permanent closure. I mean, that's a great opportunity for an independent operator to come in and revamp a theater. They're going to let high lease locations go, or just struggling locations, and those might be some opportunities.
Yeah, and we've talked with people we're involved with. If you're near an AMC that you think maybe or any of these major chains you think
Right.
may be
AMC
struggling,
Regal is going to be in the same situation.
it's time to start talking to those people that hold the leases on those buildings.
Yeah,
Because-
just check in with them. I mean, it doesn't hurt to say, has AMC approached you yet? Or are you in negotiations with AMC about the lease, or are they going to drop it? Because I think, a lot of these locations are in malls. A lot of malls are really struggling with the downturn in the retail. And so you may have an opportunity to renegotiate that lease that AMC just chose to give up.
No matter where it's located, it's hard
Yeah.
to turn a theater into anything else without giant machines coming in and tearing apart the whole building because of stadium seating and things like that are involved. You can't turn it into another retail space.
Just the height of the ceilings alone, and you just have so much wasted space if it's not a theater.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am curious, are they still going to try and reopen some theaters just for like Tenet and Mulan?
Oh, yeah. No, AMC's waiting for Tenet. And
Okay.
AMC, Regal, and Cinemark are all waiting till sometime in July to open. And they may open before Tenet a week or two early to start the process, but they're definitely waiting for that.
But they're just not going to open all locations because they're already predicting that they may be going under.
Yeah, we know that in a couple places they have already told landlords they're not renewing leases.
Okay.
So, what people have to remember is that ANC got to be so big. One of the reasons is they bought up a bunch of regional chains, and also Carmike, which was the fourth largest theater chain. And I don't want to say it, but Carmike wasn't run very well. So there were some dumpy Carmike locations that AMC got, which is great because AMC increased their numbers, but they weren't actually very good locations. So I think you're going to see a lot of those Carmike dumps go to the wayside. And so, which is fine. I mean, if you've got some opportunity there to go in and spruce up a place, maybe they weren't converted to large seating. Maybe they're just in the old style, or just need a paint job or something,
Maybe this
AMC's
needs a rejuvenation of energy.
right. Yeah. AMC didn't update every single location that they got.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, speaking of opportunity, Cinemark's jumping in. They're going to be the first major to go in on June 19th.
Yeah. About, on June 19th.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Oh, that's earlier than I thought.
Yeah, they're going in. They're going to play some repertory titles and get ready for the big push. That came out with their no mass for patrons requirement.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that I have some mixed feelings about this. First off, it's probably fine if you don't require patrons to wear a mask, because I think that's really hard to police, and that's causing a lot of issues for places, and it's always the employees that get the brunt of the negative pushback on that.
Yeah,
And
they're the ones getting yelled at.
Yeah, you don't want your employees getting berated because of your company policy. So
Right.
I can see where you'd have that. But I think that it's still essential for the employees to have a mask and to have gloves and cleaning practices. If you're not going to make your patrons do it, definitely have your employees do it. And I think that makes the patrons feel better. And I think when the patron comes in, if they do decide to wear a mask and they see the employees wearing masks, I think they feel safer. So I think it helps across the board, and then you're not imposing your will on the people that don't want it, and hopefully you're not really creating conflict in the area. But you should really state, though, that there is no requirement to wear the mask, so that you don't have patron on patron retaliation that's going on in some places.
Yeah, just like in the, I believe it won an Academy Award, Idiocracy, as goes Costco, as goes the world. You know, Costco was the first national chain to require employees and patrons to wear masks. And as things relax, they'll move away from that. But I think it's good to at least give people the option to get them back in. You just have to increase your numbers and keep your employees safe at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cinemark said that they were going to do what I think one of you said it, I can't remember now, but do where Cinemark employees have to be mandated, but it's just everyone else that doesn't have to wear the mask, correct?
Right. All the patrons don't have to, but employees do. And I think that's a great rule, that a lot of places should abide by now when
they're
you're
still
reopening.
going to have social distancing.
Yeah, I mean, when you open, it's not just a mask policy, it's social distancing, it's restricted capacities. A lot of places will be restricted to 50%, and I think that 50% is probably going to last for a while. I don't see that easing up very quickly. So when you open Tenet in Mulan, you still may have 50% restriction capacity in there. So I think that's why it's okay to not require your patrons to wear masks. Plus, the masks do hinder you from consuming your concessions. And the whole theater wants to encourage that. So I think by not having the mask is another good thing, so people can eat and drink at their seat at their leisure.
Yeah, I cut a hole in mine just so I can keep eating all the time when I wear my mask. It's great.
And I'm sure the mask still does the job.
Yeah, it's got to.
Yeah, of course.
Plus, you can get your favorite mask, like a Bane mask or Buzz Lightyear helmet, and bring it in for your favorite movie. It could be a fun thing.
I'm sure Tenet has found a way to make masks for whatever matches with their movie.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing that crowd with their Tenet masks.
Their Tenet masks.
Yeah.
All right. What else? Oh, you know what you won't be seeing at the theater, guys?
What?
Ghostbusters or anything from Sony.
Oh,
damn
no.
you, Sony.
What happened?
They pulled all the Ghostbuster dates and all their repertory dates from this next week.
For the next month, for almost all of June.
But why?
Who knows? Who knows why Sony does what it does? It's like across the nation, we're all playing, all the theaters are playing repertory titles, but somehow Sony's like, I don't think we want Ghostbusters, which is one of the most requested repertory titles out there, to be playing right now.
Didn't they have a whole Ghostbusters Day planned too?
Yeah.
Like June, what was it?
And they
June 8th?
June 8th, and they canceled it. It was a Monday. We gave them dates. They canceled on us.
7 days prior was canceled.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of 4 weeks prior, them telling us, changing policies during those 4 weeks. Oh my gosh,
we had so many policy changes because initially the Ghostbusters Day was supposed to be for drive-ins only, and we were like, well, drive-ins are probably not going to be open on this Monday. I don't know how many are going to be interested, and then they changed it and allowed hard tops to play indoors. So we're like, oh, there's more spots. And then as we got more people open, we're like, well, maybe we won't do the Monday, but we'll definitely play it that Friday afterwards because they've had some marketing in the market.
And then they changed the policy to accept that.
Yeah, because then they weren't going to book those, but then they decided to allow that. So then I got in like a bunch of Ghostbuster dates. I was like, sweet, they're taking them now.
Yep. And
gone. At first they like canceled. They sent us a notice that they're going to cancel them. And I was like, well, maybe if I don't say anything, then maybe a drive will accidentally get shipped. Mm-hmm. And if I don't bring it up, but then I got it like an official notice, your date has been canceled. Like, oh,
and then we had
1 week. I mean, that's not a lot for us to redo all of the advertising that we had been doing.
Redo the advertising, refund tickets when we're only trying to sell tickets right now. That's the number one goal, is to get people back in. And then to have those tickets pulled a week ahead of time when we had locations that were not selling out shows, but seeing decent numbers for what we thought.
Right. It's just so frustrating. This is already difficult enough. You're already restricted capacity. You already have to have these extra procedures. We're already having to book 10 days in advance or more now because the poor studios are getting inundated with dates. And then to finally have your schedule set for what you think is like 3 or 4 weeks, and then to have something pulled from it, it's just such a mess.
Yeah, I've been surrounded by all of the film buyers in the office, and I've heard quite a few cries of agony over the past couple of years. This one is probably in top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
So I felt for you guys. I felt for you guys a whole lot. I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, 2 of those 3 were probably this year when things got changed or pulled.
Yeah.
True.
In the surprise of the pandemic and dates changing. We've had so many this year. I've used the word unprecedented an unprecedented amount of times in the last 3 months.
My favorite word is inundated. I've been using that one a lot lately. I've been having to call people and be like, I've got to get your bookings in like 10 days or more in advance because they're inundated. They're just swamped over there. So
I'm just so confused what Sony sees in doing this. I mean, Warner Bros. All the studios I'm sure are frustrating, but at least Warner Bros. Is trying to do its best. Universal might be, Paramount's doing all right.
This is standard operating procedure for Sony, minus the cancellation.
What's crazy is that, like, with Warner's, when HBO Max streamed, they didn't take anything away. Like, Harry Potter went on HBO Max when it streamed. I didn't lose any Harry Potter dates.
Which is a relief for you. I mean, remembering back from last week.
I have like 500 Harry Potter dates. It's crazy.
When I dropped that bomb on you.
Yeah. No, they've not taken anything away. It's been wonderful. But Sony doesn't have a streaming service. So there really is I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't want their product out there, because they can't really get it out there any other way. Now, maybe there's some big thing that they're working on, or they think they'll make more money down the road, but they don't have another movie till next year.
Yeah, they pushed all their product in 2021.
Yeah. And there's no streaming, and now they're saying you can't book one of their most requested repertory titles. It's just I think quarantine has made everybody stupid.
No,
it's just robbed us of our brain power.
The S in Sony definitely stands for second guessing, because consistently they change policies and do things like that.
Yeah.
And this, doesn't apply to the people we deal with, because they are pass these things down.
They're just the messenger.
They're the messenger, but it's consistently like, we need to change this thing we worked on for 3 weeks. We need to update this or do something different with this.
By the way, guys, we're going to do a reissue of a film that's been out on streaming for 3 months now. But we're going to reissue it in theaters. No one wants to see that.
No. I don't know. I don't get their thinking of it. Are they just thinking, you know what? We'll just take the biggest L in 2020. We can't show any new stuff. Let's just not show any old stuff either. Let's just cancel.
Let's forget Sony exists.
They're deciding to cancel 2020 without at least showing old stuff, especially Ghostbusters. Like, they have a new Ghostbusters movie coming out next year. They'll want to promote that.
Yeah.
Like, have a special trailer for it attached to those shows. I don't know.
No, but it'll be a special trailer, and it'll have 6 minutes, but you can only show it on this day.
Yeah.
And then it'll go back that they want to show the extra 6 minutes again on a different day. And it's just the way of the Sony.
I don't get it. And I don't
get
how
overthought I don't know.
Pretty much this segment is we're at a loss for words and we don't get it.
Pretty much.
So there it is, people. Okay. We don't get it.
Well, I think that wraps up all the news. Let's get to the best part of the podcast. I want to start with Kyle today.
All right. Which movie?
Okay. The scariest Disney movie ever.
Oh, Watcher in the Woods?
Watcher in the Woods.
I'm at the age I am now. No, it is not. But I'm trying to think of...
Are you sure? A little bit. Did you jump? There are a few flash stuff in it.
No. But...
Kyle, you're killing me.
It was actually more impressive than I thought it was going to be, to where I could understand a young kid in the 80s. 80s, right? Yeah, in the 80s. 80s?
Sure.
I'm trying to remember the year now. I'm trying to remember the year of it now. 80s, 90s, whatever.
I'm pretty sure that Watcher in the Woods is early 80s, late 70s.
I feel like it's
very
80s.
old.
But anyway, it is more impressive than I thought it was going to be, and I could easily see why it would be a scary movie for kids. And it was actually a pretty good mystery. Like, even I was wondering, I don't know what's about to happen. And then...
You're like, what is it in the woods?
And then towards the end, I'm just like, that was a bananas ending, but I actually kind of like it.
It has alternative dimensions, beings from those dimensions.
It's mentioned and touched upon, but they don't really show anything. And I kind of liked it.
Yeah, because there's like
there's a mystery to it.
Teeny tiny little bit of special effects, but you know that there's something like,
and they're
in the woods, and it has like it's something like cognizant in the woods.
Yeah.
But but the way they did, like, just leaves rustling and the glass breaking and that triangle and so good.
It was that.
He's giving me chills. I love that.
They just clearly had no budget, so they had to do the best they could with little
Right.
special effects. So like the actual effects that they were able to use, like wind or whatever, like it's actually it was actually pretty good.
Remember, this is not the Disney heyday stuff. This is not like Disney get to spend $200 million on a film.
Yeah,
This is like old school.
it's like old school when even like the companies under Disney like didn't have the Disney money, and it's just it was quite that of its time, but I was actually impressed by it.
Good.
Speaking of something Kyle wasn't impressed by. Here it comes.
What do you think of 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas?
Well, once I found out in the first minute that Antonio Banderas is supposed to be Arab,
Yeah.
I wasn't
He's got black hair
no
charcoal rimmed
no,
eyes.
no.
Welcome
No.
to 2020, folks.
No,
Right?
no.
This isn't a bunch of Jewish guys playing
When
Cubans
his-
in Scarface, but it's not far off.
I'm supposed to believe he's Arab when his Spanish accent is just oozing
I
onto
know,
the screen. And then he's so charismatic too that I can't be mad at him. I'm mad at the studio, whoever made it, but whatever. Anyway, it was a different time, folks. Hopefully we can move past that, but that wasn't a promising start. And the 40 minutes of like the movie was not promising either because it was just so dull. It was quite a bit of setup. I was not attached to any characters that he had to join with on this
You didn't like
journey.
any of the Vikings?
Not in the first 40 minutes.
Okay.
For some reason, the first 40 minutes I was not able to get into.
In that time though, he is trying to like learn their language and stuff, and so that kind of takes a long time because they're on the ship together. And
yeah, but Dances with Wolves, he spent the first 2 hours learning their language, but you were still intrigued.
Yeah. yeah, pretty much. But
Tatanka.
I will say though, after the 40 minutes, I think it's like the scene where one of the Norsemen that he becomes an ally of has to fight like one of the bigger guys for whatever reason. I don't even remember now.
where the little Norseman guy
Yeah.
has to fight the huge other like clan guy, and
Yeah.
but it's like more of a power struggle because it's like I have to sacrifice this one really big guy because they need to know they can't what is it, judge what they can't see.
Yeah, something along those
Yeah.
lines. Once that scene happened and the movie progressed, it wasn't bad. Like, it was actually pretty decent stuff that they were doing there. I just don't think the movie, for whatever reason, it took too long to set up to get to where, like, there's some really good stuff to where, like, characters were actually becoming likable. I was able to see some actually pretty decent action shots, but for some reason, it's the first half doesn't know how to grasp that, and the second half is where I guess someone working on this movie was like, wait, no, we should do it this way. And they all understood how to make the movie, and then it was able to do a better job at least sticking the landing.
Did you see the main Norseman guy's death scene at the end was like awesome? He just sits on that like wall chair and just looks out, and his eyes don't even close. And that's how he
Yeah,
dies.
I did
That's
actually
awesome.
like that moment. I did like that. I was very surprised by how kind of gruesome and bloody the movie got too. I just wasn't really expecting it,
when they
especially
go on
since I could feel that the budget of this movie wasn't really anything special. Like, they did what they could, but it wasn't.
It was like a $25 million movie, and Antonio got 20 of it.
Yeah, pretty much. But I was actually impressed by what little they had could make such an impact for that movie. I don't know if that quite makes sense. So I give them credit for that. But honestly, I think if you trim down the first 40 minutes and kind of try to match it a bit better with the rest of the movie, like, there's something there, but I don't consider it to be like one of the best Antonio Banderas movies or one of the best like epic.
No,
Sword and
Sandal
Cody
movies
fired off
either.
a hot take today saying this was the best Antonio Banderas
Yeah.
movie. So I've got a list of a few here
okay.
that Kyle and I would like to discuss at much more length than The 13th Warrior because they were good movies.
Okay. All right. I'm not disputing that.
Last year, he got nominated for an Academy Award for Pain and Glory.
Which I haven't not seen the movie, but I imagine that it was a worthy nomination.
There's
Okay.
Robert Rodriguez's Desperado,
All right.
I don't know what that is.
the Zorro films.
The Zorro film was actually a fun time.
Okay.
He was in He was in Spy Kids. He was in all the Shrek movies.
I never saw Spy Kids.
He's great
and
in
I
the
don't
Spy
think
Kids.
voice.
He's
I don't
great in
think-
the Spy Kids
I don't think
movies.
voice acting should count. I want to see his face.
Voice acting
Shrek,
should.
Shrek made like $1 billion as a
agree.
franchise.
I get it, but that's like an ensemble cast thing.
But he was Puss in Boots.
But if he stands out among like that stacked of a cast, I think that gives that warrants some credit.
I mean, he was in The Last Expendables. My favorite movie of Antonio Banderas
You've not said one that I like more than
is Assassins, with him pitted against Sylvester Stallone trying to kill each other for the entire movie. And they had
I didn't see that
laptops
one.
where they got messages to kill each other, and they were messaging back and forth while they were trying to murder each other. It was great.
That does sound pretty amazing. Yeah, for me, it's Spy Kids and Shrek 2.
God, Kyle.
13th Warrior isn't even listed in the Google search. It's down below the line where you click more movies the second time.
Okay. What's in the site? You have not said a movie that I
Once
think
Upon a
is
Time
better.
in Mexico.
Which one
he was
is
in
that
Evita.
one? What's Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
It's follow-up to Desperado.
I don't know what either of those are then.
It doesn't help when the group hasn't seen the majority of Banderas' filmography.
None of these sound good.
But I will argue he's great in Shrek 2 as compared to 13th Warrior.
Oh
I'm
my God,
sorry.
no.
Yes.
And yes, of course. I mean, he's been in like 7 or 8 Oscar-nominated movies. He's a real actor. This was just
He's an
a money
actor.
grab. Yeah, this was a money grab. What are you talking about, 13th Warrior?
It's just the most enjoyable movie.
When you brought it up,
Like,
I knew what it
of
was
all
because
time,
you still
or-
Because I made you watch
you
it
still get
once.
excited about it.
I do.
but-
I really like it.
Kyle and I, if I hadn't known you for as long as I've known you, I would have assumed it was the Tom Cruise samurai movie. Kyle thought it was 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves. He was kind of excited to rewatch it. He's like, yeah, Keanu's in it. I'll watch it.
I mean, Keanu's in it. It must be okay. Like, you like those first 40 minutes? They're so dry.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was just so weird. Like, I don't understand why those first 40 minutes were so dry. And then the rest of the movie, like, someone came in and did some changes. Like, someone had to be like, guys, this is dull. We gotta get something going here. And I don't know. It's wild to me.
Yeah, the aggressive turn in it reminds me of Cocktail with Tom Cruise, where in the first half of the movie, he's just learning how to bartend and like trying to hook up with chicks, and all of a sudden it becomes a murder thriller. like what? Excuse me? I thought this was like a feel-good thing where he was going to meet the love of his life and they were going to disappear together. No, it just took this weird turn where all of a sudden everybody's dying and getting limbs chopped off and blood everywhere.
That sounds like 13th Warrior.
It kind of reminds me of, oh shoot, I can't remember the movie now, but some Shia LaBeouf movie when he was becoming a movie star at the time. Like it comes from almost being like a coming of age movie
Holes?
to no, it's not Holes. A coming of age movie to like a home invasion movie, and he has to like
Disturbia.
stop this murder.
It's Disturbia.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
It has to be.
Probably.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the title.
Yeah,
off the
So
top
it
of my
was
head.
one of the Transformers that I missed.
No,
No.
he's like spying on the neighbor, and the neighbor's like a serial killer, and he like
Yeah.
lives with his mom, and then his mom starts kind of dating the neighbor, and
And then
yeah.
it just flips a 180 like
Yeah.
right away, and that's a good movie. I
Yeah,
forgot the name
similar
of it.
to the other Shia LaBeouf movie where he's in Indiana Jones 4, where all of a sudden you think it's an Indiana Jones movie and then it just turns bad.
Well, there was never
I
an
don't-
Indiana Jones 4.
I don't
so
know what you're
why we're
talking
talking
about.
about it.
That's right. I
Is
forgot.
that the rejected screenplay that Spielberg should have pooped on? Just used it to wipe at the
Should
toilet.
have been like, not this time, George.
Yeah.
Not this time, George. Well,
Is that the same as Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
We don't talk about it anymore.
We just don't talk about it anymore.
not far off.
We need to update a list on Silver Screen Insider of movies that we do not discuss. Questions we do not take.
Did
They'll
these
be in
real-
the
should these
database.
have existed? Probably not.
They'll be in the database, but we
Yeah.
won't talk about them. All right, so I met my end of the deal.
Okay.
I got through those 2 movies. Now, what about you? What did you watch?
I was supposed to watch Pulp Fiction because Ken made me.
You were supposed to?
No,
but
it's on
And
your,
I did.
It's on
You
your list
did.
because
It's
it's,
on my
one of the
list.
top 100 movies
But Ken
of all time.
picked it from last week, and we watched it. And I was pretty certain that I had seen it, but I had apparently just seen the worst like most gruesome part of the
Bruce
whole movie.
Willis,
In the,
part of the movie.
pawn shop, in the
Yeah.
basement of the pawn shop. I somehow had seen that whole sequence.
Yeah.
No, it's just so ingrained in pop culture. I think bits and pieces of it ring true.
Yeah.
But unless you see it as a complete masterwork,
I remember the cars part, and
cars part.
Yeah, where he runs him over with the car, and then he gets in the car wreck. Like I remember that part, but from there to the end of that, I somehow just have seen that part, but not the whole rest of the film. Or the whole rest of the film didn't traumatize me as much as that part, and so I must have forgot about it.
I mean, there's quite a bit of stuff where it could traumatize a person if they're not prepared for a Tarantino movie. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
So my initial thought was it was good. I mean, I liked it
thank
more.
goodness.
I liked it more than I thought I would.
We can still say stay married.
Yeah, but there's a but coming. But
I'll just take the good.
Yeah.
But I'm done watching films because this was the epitome of films.
No.
Okay.
This is the peak of cinema.
I think it was like okay because there wasn't a lot that happens in it. It's just I don't know.
Excusez-moi.
Just what was
You-
the point of the
you're-
movie? It just
they're
really
simple-
only takes
they're,
place.
they're quote unquote
Yeah.
simple stories. Like
That-
there's not
yeah.
a lot to them, but because of how the characters are developed, like there's a lot more meat to them.
Right. But I just felt like the movie was shot so that there would be like one little scene where they like they walk into a room and then it's just a dialogue scene. And then they have a scene where something happens, like he accidentally shoots the guy. And then it's like a whole dialogue scene after he shoots the guy in the car by accident. And then they get to the house and it's a whole dialogue scene. And that kind of got
So,
boring to
a
me.
movie?
So they
No, it was just so
wait until we get into the meat of this list. There will
Yeah.
be dialogue scenes that last 2.5 hours. This
That-
at least had something to draw your
right.
attention.
No,
to
and I
it.
Be
and
prepared for any
unlike-
sort of Sorkin written film.
unlike like some of the the
Anything by
older
Kubrick.
movies, I do like his dialogue. I just
Yeah.
think it just goes on and on a little bit. Like
It
I
gets
want
lost after a
Yeah.
while. Okay.
I think he doesn't. I hate being somebody that's like he curses too much in his movies, but I think he could have done with a few less N words.
Had to fan your.
And maybe
had
it's
to fan the
because
ham
of
to your head.
maybe it's because of what's going on right now.
Sure.
I'm just way more sensitive to it than I normally
Sure.
would have been. And
She
that
hasn't
was
seen Django either. Wait till we do that one
Oh,
this week.
jeez.
no, I'm not doing
That's-
that. That's not on the list, and I don't want to. Not right now. One of these days. What else?
Ken.
I thought this sounds terrible, but I thought all the women were weird looking in it.
You didn't like Uma Thurman?
No, I thought they were all got weird profiles, like weird noses or angular features, or there was some. There
they're
was
not the normal of beauty.
no, and I'm not saying that I need to see some beautiful woman all the time. There was just something odd about that. They all look like odd ducks on the screen.
Well, everyone in that movie's an odd duck. You think Travolta
don't
looked like a,
Travolta
movie
looked
star in that one?
ridiculous with his long hair. I mean, him and Samuel L. Jackson looked like they were wearing wigs the whole time, like really bad
Because
wigs.
they were.
Probably were.
No, I mean Bruce Willis isn't an odd duck.
Isn't what?
Bruce Willis is not an odd duck.
Well,
look
yes,
at.
he is, but okay.
He's not classically handsome.
I think he's
Well,
handsome.
at the time he was classically handsome, but
Ving Rhames
age
is handsome. He's
and-
so big.
Yeah.
well, that's a bit mean, but okay.
The first guy that starts in the scene in the diner.
Tim Roth.
Yeah, he's got a little weird nose. Just so pointy.
They're all just real uggos. I'm glad I got to bring that back.
Yeah, they are real uggos, all
God,
of them.
Cody.
No, but then it is striking when Tarantino's on scene. You're like, oh yeah, like they're all like Hollywood pretty, and he definitely is not.
Oh, see, I thought he was one of the better looking. I think that's why he did the real uggos to make him look so good because he's on screen. He was so young too, in that. He's not really that young.
It was
but
like 93.
I know. I realized how, and that was another thing. And Ken and I talked about this afterwards that because there's like so much dialogue and stuff, you hear things like prices for things, and like they buy a pack of smokes for like $1.40, and it's just so it almost takes you out of it because it's so jarring because it's just not how prices are. That I think the longevity of the movie would have lasted a little bit better if they had just said like talked about purchasing items and not super specifics about how much stuff cost.
It's a time capsule.
It is.
Sure.
It was weird. It just stuck out to me.
I mean,
Everything was super cheap.
It's fair. Like sometimes in moments of movies, like I don't know if it's supposed to take place in the 50s, and then they're like, "I'll buy a newspaper for a nickel," and you're like, "Holy cow, newspapers nickels!" Like,
What's a newspaper?
like that's one thing, but I wouldn't say that's the case for Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't say that.
Well, not that I have ever smoked, but I know that a pack of cigarettes is like got to be $6 or $7 now.
It is funny when you watch a movie that's set in a darker scene where you see everyone smoking.
Yeah,
and
that
consistently
was weird
smoking
too.
and smoking while they're
inside.
and smoking inside,
Yeah.
smoking while they're eating, things like that. It's like
yeah.
it's so odd to see it now because it's rare that you see anyone smoking anywhere.
Didn't that
Right.
only stop happening where you can smoke anywhere indoors in like the 80s, 90s? Isn't that?
No, that was like
It was only like 5 years ago.
that was like
I was
Only 5 years ago
21
that
going to
happened.
the bars, and you could still smoke in the bar.
it was like 2010.
Yeah.
New York, maybe like
Weird.
3 or
I
4
don't know why I
years
thought
earlier.
it was. Jeez, I thought I was getting a good guess.
No, no.
I need to pay more attention.
The first time I flew on an airplane in the 90s, you could still smoke on an airplane. The pilots,
that's what I was
the
thinking. I
pilots
was
were
like-
smoking in the cockpit.
I was thinking like, okay, maybe the late 90s. It had to have
I think
stopped by then.
I think you couldn't smoke on planes in the 2000s because I went in 2002. I flew on the plane for the first, like a real long trip, and you couldn't smoke on it then. But that was also after 9/11, and you also couldn't take on a bunch of stuff on the plane.
Yeah.
That was when that whole thing shifted.
Yeah, it was probably easier to cut off smoking then.
Yeah.
Because everyone was on the same page at that point.
So it was like
and then kind of forgot about it afterwards.
it was weird. I went to Europe my sophomore year of high school, and so 9/11 happened that fall of 2001, and I went to Europe in the summer of 2002. So it was pretty. Are you picking out my movie for the?
Oh, fancy! I went to Europe.
Oh, I have a question for Kyle.
Okay.
Have you seen Small Soldiers?
No.
Good, that's your film.
That's from the creators of South
Cody.
Park, right?
What?
Really?
Yeah, it was actually a request from a listener, and I agreed with them.
Small Soldiers.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of a cult classic type movie, if I'm
I know.
correct.
I'm
right?
very excited.
I think it's a small cult, like a cult that's just in one
It's gonna be
7-Eleven.
so funny.
like 4 people are like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
And
Well,
Cody's one of them.
it was a request, and I agreed with it, and I think that's what you should do.
Sure. I mean, if that's the movie for Kyle's happy fun corner, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever this is called. Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
So it went well with me picking out movies. That was up there for your list so far.
Maybe. Hey, I'm worried now.
Cody's like, I don't know how to answer this.
I mean, I think we should stay in these dark delved waters. I think we should do one of the
do this to me.
Godfathers
No.
or Bonnie
we
and
tried seeing the
Clyde,
rain and you got bored with it. We're going
or
darker now.
Taxi Driver or The Deer Hunter.
I don't think any of those films are on those sheets.
Yeah, they are because
No.
they're American classics. Unforgiven.
What?
Saving Private Ryan's not on your list. I think that's a great movie for June.
It's not on that list, though.
Saving Private Ryan is on this list. Yes,
That'd
I
be
think that's a
surprising
great
if it
movie for
wasn't.
Flag Day, June 14th. I think that's a great one to go into next week.
Okay.
There'll be a theme to it. All right.
Yeah, I think that's
I mean,
a good
Small
one.
got Vin
Soldiers,
Diesel
Saving
in it.
Private Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do it. I like
Yeah,
it.
and
Wow,
I'll-
that convinced her.
And
okay.
I'll bring in a review of Universal Soldier starring Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just to round it out.
Just to
Perfect
round it
flight
out.
day.
Okay. Did you watch a 90s action movie this last week?
I only watch 90s action movies.
No, you watched Django. That's not a 90s action movie.
It
I'm
falls.
pretty sure you watched that this last week.
I absolutely watched it this week. It came back on an unnamed streaming service for free. And since I can't watch it in theaters, since they're closed where we're at, I did rewatch it. It is so good. And I put that at my very top Tarantino movie. What's your favorite Tarantino movie, Cody? That you've actually
Once
seen
Upon a
front to
Time in
back?
Hollywood.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Kyle, what was yours?
Ooh.
Put him on the spot here, folks.
I have to think. It might be. It could be. No, Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, yeah.
I think Inglourious Basterds.
I forgot about that one. I like to
Wait,
watch
hold
that
on.
one because you can fast forward all the other scenes and just watch Brad Pitt's scenes. They're the best.
Yeah.
It's so slow except for his scenes.
Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, that's just a crime. You can't do that.
I just like.
The first scene of Inglourious Basterds, it has the best non-action action teaser
What's
of
that?
all time.
No, I take back my answer. Reservoir Dogs and then Inglourious Basterds.
You're lucky that's not on the list.
Yeah, true. Reservoir Dogs is... Man, that movie's so good.
I think that's the only reason Tarantino's not on the list more is because everything was made starting like 1990.
Yeah.
If they were made in the 70s, it'd be like, oh yeah, these are all on this list. And fall into the MASH category. Or we'll put it in here because it was the first of those.
I would totally take another Tarantino movie over MASH. MASH was just horrible. That should not be on that list at all.
Man, all right.
Chinatown, Roman Polanski. Lots of great movies. Jack Nicholson. It's a
What about One
stink
Flew
face.
Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is way darker than The Godfather, but we can go ahead and do that.
I love the thought process of, man, I just could not get through MASH. Too dark for me.
No,
but let's do One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
MASH
Nest.
wasn't dark. It was just boring and horrible, and I couldn't understand what they were saying because they mumbled their lines and they talked over each other, and nothing happened in the movie. They came, they did some surgeries, they left. It was just
Anybody
Sounds like they did a lot.
Yeah,
No.
anybody
Did a
who's
lot of
seen
surgeries.
Cuckoo's Nest,
Yeah.
just laugh quietly by yourself while you're listening to this about the last 5 minutes of that film. That is just going to ruin Cody's life for the next day.
Okay.
Let's pick that one.
okay.
Okay, she's chosen.
No, I didn't know. I
No,
said
it's too
okay.
late.
I understand.
You just said okay. You heard
We're
it here.
doing Saving Private Ryan, Small Soldiers, and
Yeah, we'll stick to the theme of Flag Day, but we'll
Yeah.
come back to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
You guys don't even know if Flag Day is June 14th.
I
I
have
could have
no
made that
idea.
up.
Ken's birthday is June 12th. Everybody,
Ooh.
just so you know, next Friday.
I'll be turning 29. It'll be amazing.
It would be an amazing day as all 29-year-olds celebrate.
Yeah, for the 4th or 5th time.
Well, is that it for today's podcast then?
I just want to double check. I mean, on Small Soldiers, that's the one with like the little like, not toy soldiers, right?
Yes.
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
That's the one with plastic toy
Yeah,
soldiers that
but they-
come.
but they look
they
like-
have AI and they come to life. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phil
yes.
Hartman's in it.
Yes, that's
That's
the
not-
one.
I kind of figured that was the one.
Okay.
I was on the page.
All right. I just want to make sure we're on the same page with the same
you
one.
just assigned a movie without.
I just want to make sure it was the right one I was thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got excited because I got the call came in today to talk about it. So
That's great. No, he definitely needs to watch it. We'll rewatch it too. Mm-hmm. Rewatch it with our kids and traumatize them.
oh yeah, the boys might like it.
No, they won't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You know, there's a lot, I'm finding out that my children don't like the same movies I liked when I was little. Not by a long shot.
I mean, you wish that would be the case, but it's only natural.
So I just embrace what they like, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Tying this all together, we tried to watch Ghostbusters with our 4 and 6-year-old, to which Cody, as the fun parent, decided to say, hey, it's not too scary. And I
because I remember watching it as a little kid.
Yeah, who hunted and tore animals apart as part of your daily life.
Not daily.
In the forests of Montana.
Okay, weekends.
Yeah. In the fall.
Yeah.
That's it's not like it's every
In
weekend.
3 months out of the year. Yeah, no, our children watch this with
I poked
jaws,
a few gut
with
piles.
jaws agape.
No, so Callister, our oldest, got too scared and was like, I can't watch this.
He's
He's self-restricted.
He called himself out. He was like, all
he's
right,
like,
I'm
no,
tapping out.
I can't handle this. And then our youngest, Lachlan, just mouth open, like shocked that he was getting to watch this. And then when we turned it off, because Callister got too scared, he got upset that we turned it off. So him and I have to watch it on our own as special mommy son.
Oh, that kid
screening.
has a memory of that movie now. That's not going
You
away.
just see his little mouth just like wide open, like,
But at 4 years old watching Ghostbusters, even nowadays, like that's still Because there's some scary moments in that
Kyle doesn't even
movie.
have kids, and he's like, "That's not a good idea."
Maybe
well,
like
when I was little,
8 and 6.
I always closed my eyes for the scary ghost in the library. Like,
Interesting. Okay. For
That-
me, it would be when the demon comes out of like the fridge.
really?
Yeah, we didn't even get to.
Yeah.
We didn't even get through the first
That
3
part wasn't-
minutes.
No, it was the librarian that also scared me because she like comes out at you.
Okay. Well, that yeah.
But
Okay,
the demon,
that's a good point.
like the demon in the fridge, she like, I didn't think was as scary. Maybe when the demon hands come up in the chair and hold her down.
yeah.
But they look funny, so it didn't really get me.
I mean, looking back on it, they'll probably have a good laugh, but that's definitely a memory you gave your kids. That's for sure.
Yeah. I told you quarantine has turned our brains to mush. It just, we were not thinking.
Nah.
Oh,
You got to show them some point.
Yeah, I'm done thinking for today. Can we wrap this baby up?
Sure, I can take it away.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. So, everyone, thank you for listening to the Off the Break podcast. You can check us out on all platforms for podcasts, as well as at silverscreeninsider.com. If you're a theater owner or manager and you need materials, especially for older movies that you need to play, check out the website. We have a lot of stuff from Warner Bros., Universal. We're now starting to get through Paramount's library for sorts of one-sheets and publicity stills.
Do we have Indiana Jones up there?
We got Indiana Jones
Oh,
now.
good.
I got that up today
I
for
have
you.
booked so many Indiana Jones.
Well, perfect. If you need materials, all 3 and that one weird movie that tried to be Indiana Jones is up there. So check it out.
You mean the Indiana Jones trilogy? Because that's all I've booked.
Yep, the trilogy and the one weird movie that's there. I don't know what it's for, but it's,
You know what else I've booked? A lot of Mission Impossibles from
we got those
Paramount.
up.
And a couple Saving Private Ryans.
We got that up too.
Yeah.
So we're ready to go. All your film needs in one place.
Yep.
Perfect.
So take care. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Everybody.